There she is.
Press the button. I was about to say something. I got an eyelash in my eye.
Yeah, you deserve that.
Do I?
Yeah,
For what?
you're abandoning me the second half of this week.
Yeah. Yes, I
Yeah,
am.
you deserve all baddeth that cometh uponeth you.
Not while I'm gone. I'll take it
No.
all today.
Yeah, so this is our only recording this week, folks. It's our only episode. Brakken's got a big weekend ahead with the basically the world championships of kart racing. So
The World Championships of North America.
exactly. So you got to get out of town, huh? You got to scoot
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Wednesday morning, we're heading out. We're then on track Thursday morning and finish up Saturday. Our final race is at 1:50 p.m. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sorry, Sunday at 1:50. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday racing.
Do you ever think you'd be a gearhead ever
No,
in your life?
no, no. In fact, I didn't want to be. Back in the day, Hunter one day was like, you know what you really should do for cross training? Because he just does that a lot. He'll just say, you know what you need to
Yeah,
do?
yeah.
He said, get a single speed fat tire mountain bike and just grind up the hills you do have. It'll make you a powerful climber. It's like, it seems like a whole thing. He said, just buy a maintenance for mountain biking book, read it, and you'll be fine. Just learn to do the basic maintenance and it's fine. It's easy. And I just had like this visceral reaction, like, I don't want to learn how to do those things. I just have no desire whatsoever to learn how to maintain equipment. I just want to throw on shoes and go. And now here
And
we
here
are.
you are. Well, my father Pete would be proud of you because my dad Pete, not your dad Pete, spent his young career as an auto mechanic at Kmart of all places.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, now he has his own business. He's had it for 40, 50 years, but he was always a gear junkie and trying to sort of like, let's learn how to change your oil, Kirk, and you need to be able to fix your car, Kirk. And I was so disinterested in learning for some reason all of those things. It just never grabbed for me, and I don't know why. So it seems like you're in that same boat. But I suppose once you get into anything and the nuances, just like this running
Yeah.
podcast of 5 years, once you get the taste and once the more you know, the more questions you have to ask and need answers. I feel like that's kind of how it probably went for you.
Yeah, it's even though it's not my desire, it's not my love or anything, it hits me at my interest level. Even though the sport doesn't necessarily like I appreciate racing in all forms. So it makes sense to me that style. But the way this works is it works the same way my mind works, which is I'm a tinkerer. Like that's why OCR worked
Mm.
better for me than straight running because straight running is just engine and training and that's it. And OCR had so many nuances. You could tinker and play with things and use little factors to your advantage. And that's all tuning this cart is. It's constantly tinkering and tweaking and coming up with better ways of doing something. And as people describe it, almost everything you can do on the cart that's legal is a zero sum game.
Mm.
So it makes you better in one corner and worse in a different type of corner in the opposite corner. And it evens out to like the same lap time. The things that can really make you better are either really basic and you got to get it right, or they're illegal. Like they make you significantly better. Most of it's zero sum. Like you give up corner entry to gain quarter exit, or you give up straight line speed to get cornering speed. But situationally, sometimes some are more important than the others, depending on where you start in the grid or what the weather's like or what your competitors are like. Do they have better straight line speed or are they better in the infield? Can your driver make up for one of the so anyways, it's like you can get lost in the tinkering and that's the
Hmm.
way my mind works. So even though this isn't my love, it absolutely has my interest.
Yeah.
And so it's a chore to do, but it's not a hassle, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've known you as a tinkerer.
Yeah, I'm a tinkerer.
Yeah, for sure. Because as I'm getting older, I'm becoming more and more of that. Like I'm just messing around with stuff if I have a free window of time that I would never take the time to do because tinkering suddenly seems to be something I enjoy. Could be
Yeah.
hanging out in my garage, messing with stuff I don't even need to be touching, just
Because you're a
it's
Midwest male.
because tinkering is enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Tinkering. Let's tinker today with
Well,
with a
I
topic.
wanna start with a brief little intro, Kirk. Uh, I am obviously teaching right now again.
Okay.
And just for those who aren't caught up, it's just 3 classes a day. I'm there like very, very part-time. But it is very odd to be back in the world where buy-in is not a given. Every single person we've talked to or talked at for the last, 5 years on the podcast and 10 years for me as a coach has chosen to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I would say out of let's just say I have 30 kids per class, maybe 5 to 10 actively want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
The rest do not want to be there or would rather not be there. So you get a lot of questioning. Why do I have to do this? Why I don't like sports. I don't like this. And I'm making this very much not a sports class, because even though I love sports, I don't believe sports are for everyone. And I think that the worst way to approach it is to force that upon people. But all that aside, this weekend was the perfect example to me before we leave the karting conversation. Kind of, this is now just about sports, but why sports can be important, why they're so useful. Because Braden got like the full sport experience this weekend that you cannot really get outside of a competitive environment. Why sports are so beautiful. So day one of this weekend. Now he has not won a race yet, a feature race. He's won prelims, he's won semifinals, he's won pole from qualifying, but he's never been better than second in the feature. And on Saturday, he was in first place and he led 9 of the first 11 laps of the 15-lap feature. And then his left rear wheel violently exited the cart and went bouncing across the track in the middle of a turn. He spun out like crazy into the infield and his race was done. So it was because I forgot to tighten that wheel down.
DNF.
Yeah, there wasn't a mechanical failure. There was a mechanic failure. So his best chance, the person who was in second, won it. So I blew it and he was devastated. But he also had to keep it together because it wasn't his error and he's aware enough to know that. And like when you have things like that in real life, devastation, you very rarely are forced to / get the opportunity to get back on the horse immediately and go through the situation again. But that was Saturday night and we had a race Sunday morning. And so I had to get back on it and fix everything I broke through the consequences of losing a wheel while going 50 miles an hour. And he had to come to grips with the devastation of what if that's my only chance to get a win. He moves up in division next year, so he could go through this all with never having got a real win in this division. And he had to go back through the rounds and go through qualifying and all that again and get to the feature, and he won it. So
that's right, he did.
But it's like that small little sports are a microcosm of life example where usually in life where you have some big, great, depressing or devastating moment, it takes a long time to dig yourself out of the hole or get another chance to even remedy that. You ruin a relationship, it takes a long time before you're in another spot like that, or you get fired from a job or whatever. But in that moment, watching him go through that in just a 14-hour time capsule there, it reminded me again why, even if sports don't matter, some version of a competitive environment matters, because it cuts the timeline down to like this minuscule little time where you can have a high, a low, and then forced to do something about it and then get the reward or whatever it's going to be again. And he grew so much in one weekend from it, but it was just like that perfect, bad, but good sporting moment this weekend.
Yeah, you wouldn't change how it turned out if you knew it'd turn out this way, because it went from the low to the high and it meant more. It became personal.
Yeah.
And he got it done. He really is the karting version of Cole Hawker. I mean, how it went for him at the World Champs.
Yeah.
DQ'd in the 1500. It became personal for him. And then he goes out in the 5K in his redemption race and pulls a Cole Hawker.
Yeah.
Same. Pretty much Braden, Cole, shake hands, brothers.
There you go. And if Braden had his way, his hair would be that long.
I mean, if you can cross a finish line and then whip that hair around in enthusiasm, might be worth it.
Yeah.
Braden pulls his helmet off and flops his hair around after he just buries everybody. Come on, you could see it. Yeah. Say, Braden, use it while you got it, brother. In about 20 years, you're not going to have it.
I don't know. My dad has his hair. His dad had his hair. Everyone has their hair in the family on both sides, except one of Lisa's uncles and me. And one of my uncles. But I don't know. Who knows what he's going to have. So you're right. Milk it now.
Well, Braden will send you the hair vibes. All right, let's get to this. I have an idea how I want to approach this topic today.
Okay.
So, an athlete I coach, John, is running his first 100 miler, the Javelina 100 this fall. He was ultra curious from the start. He basically ran his first 50K on like 15 miles a week, right? Something like that. Then we got working together. We upped his mileage. He hit another one. Then he got curious, did a 100K. And now he's like, I got to do 100. And he's already thinking bigger. This guy dreams big. And John's a Clydesdale. John isn't your, 120 pound soaking wet prototype endurance athlete. John's got a frame on him, right? And he's working hard. Point being, he's got a race come up and he's got some curiosities. And so John sent me an email. We check in every week. The athletes I coach know that. And he brought up a question, and I wanted to make it a podcast episode today. So I'll just read the question, if that's cool with you, and then we will take it from here. And I'll tell you how I think we should approach it. So the question from John is, hey, Kirk, I want to jump on a recent theme of your podcast with an idea to pitch. The Instagram internet misrepresentation of running things. This one is only mildly selfish as I'm fairly locked in on getting this next block done. He's in peak overreaching phase right now as he builds to this thing. A lot of volume, some intensity in there. He says, how am I supposed to feel in various phases of training? Base training, a speed block, peak, and recovery from a race. There's a ton of memes and jokes about runners feeling very heavy fatigue from long runs, morning runs, quality sessions, etc. How should I feel in peak training? Should I feel like a zombie going through the motions? Should I feel 90% normal with some tired moments? The crux of it is that it's now very challenging to tell if what I'm feeling is normal and expected from the work I'm doing at the time, or if I'm misreading my body signals by thinking, everyone jokes about being exhausted and napping. This is normal. Maybe in addition, what metrics matter in this regard? Is it pure feel? Are there some measurables to watch out for? So to paraphrase, what I want to talk about today is how should I feel during different phases of training and make it bite size. And what I would like to do is break it down. And I think we should each come up with 3 words to describe how you feel during different phases of training. And I would say off season, base, let's call it the ramp up, peak, and the come down, something like that, like 5 phases. What do you have any other ones in mind?
No, that's good to me. So it'd be off season, base build, pre-competition, competition, then off season.
I think so.
Okay.
Because we never talk about, we talk about the work that should be done and how to periodize and the correct approach, which is different for everybody, but how should I actually feel? My body physically, my mind emotionally, and we can make this a really long episode, but I want to keep it bite-sized. And so should we start with off season?
Yes.
Is off season different than base phase, Brakken?
Yes.
It can be.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be. I think it's just the purpose or the mindset is what's different. They can both be the exact same thing, but off season feels like a break and base feels like preparation.
It's true. Okay, so let's start with off season then. Let's start from the very beginning. You wrapped up your racing season and now you're in off season, whatever that means. Do you have like a handful of words, like just single words or phrases that come to mind? Like, how should I feel either physically or emotionally in the off season? What would be normal?
I think the first word that comes to mind is relief. Kind of just an exhale. Hopefully it's a good exhale. Like, I got through that. That was great, but I'm really needing the break. Either because you had such a big build or the big race took so much out of you, but just relief that I don't have anything demanding on my calendar and I can get to the other things I've been wanting to, even if that is sleeping in and just relaxing. But just a sense of relief, I think, is a sign of a good season to some extent.
So emotionally, you should almost be relieved.
Yeah.
You're speaking emotionally.
We're almost starting at the end because this is predicated around what came first. But if you have a really good build culminating in a really good race, you were probably hanging on for a little while there. And it's costly. And a really good race is often costly. especially if it's a long race. So usually, yeah, a sense of relief is to me the difference between off season and base building.
I like that one a lot. That wasn't going to be on my radar, but that
Okay.
is 100% correct.
What about you?
Um, lack of direction, meaning, like your emotional investment is low. Suddenly, you're not thinking and tinkering. You may be investing in other parts of your life more, spending time with friends, not living and dying by getting every training run done. But you're noticing like you're not thinking about it nor feeling very motivated. Like unmotivated would be probably how I
Mm-hmm.
would describe it, is really what I'm getting at. Unmotivated and unfocused. And that probably follows a period of high motivation and high focus. And that again would
Right.
be like the decompression from it. But lack of focus, yeah, and lack of motivation. I think that's very normal.
Great.
So I
I
would
like it.
say, yeah.
Now, the subtle difference moving from off season to base building, because for some people it's the same thing. It's really how you ended the previous season. If you crescendoed, you go into off season. If you were if you didn't crescendo, like you got injured before your big race, or you were rebuilding from something, or you didn't have some big ultimate finale, then you kind of just move right into base building. But I think the difference is you move from relief to either excitement or anticipation. All right, it's time to, I'm
Yep.
excited to get working, but I'm excited for what comes next. Base building to me is all about looking forward. It is just a forward facing style of training where the training itself is not captivating usually, but you're aware that you are preparing for what's next. It's kind of like stacking sandbags before a storm for me. Like you
Mm.
don't, the act of stacking the sandbags to stop the flood is not that captivating, but what's coming is captivating. And every sandbag you place down, you are placing there anticipating what it's going to be used for and what happens next. So I think it's a little bit more positive than that scenario, but that's kind of how it is, where this
Mm.
act isn't what gets me, but knowing that this leads to something with a little bit of excitement to it, that's how I'm looking forward.
So have you moved to base? You were just moving to base building or keeping it in the same vein of off season?
Moving from true off season to like base building, preparing for the year now.
Okay, I like that analogy. What about physically though in the off season before we move to base building?
Okay.
Like we just talked about emotionally how I should feel in the off season. Physically, um, and then we can get to base phase. But physically, I'm actually feeling kind of sloppy and like I'm almost deconditioning. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh no, I'm not feeling like the purpose of when I do put my running shoes on. I don't even know what it's for. I just know I'm doing it because I probably should.
Mm-hmm.
And there may be some lack of structure. So like physically, I may actually just feel like I'm kind of like in a gray zone. Like I'm not really building anything that's that special. I don't feel race ready whatsoever. I feel like I've backtracked. And I would say if I do touch anything faster, it usually feels like I have to fight for it. Like if I were to do anything quicker, base phase is going to be a bit of that too. But physically, I'm going to say I feel a little like sloppy. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, and eventually you'll feel sloppy enough where off season, at least for me, like, okay, I'm kind of a POS. I've
Mm-hmm.
run half the mileage I normally do. I haven't done a quality session in 3 weeks. Eventually, I'm going to feel sloppy enough and like clunky enough where I'm like, okay, I'm feeling inspired again, and it's time to ramp things up into base phase. But I would say, like sluggish. Every run kind of feels meh. I
Mm-hmm.
mostly because I don't emotionally care that much. And I'm just sort of going through the motions. I think that is the off season, in my opinion. By off season, I'm implying we're training some. We just don't have any sort of focus or build at that
Yeah.
point. What about you?
I would say I almost never feel good.
Correct.
To me, it's like there's an indulgence, which rarely feels good. It goes from satisfying to regret real quick when you
Mm.
overindulge in life. There's very little time. Like if you binge, there's some satisfaction as it starts, and there's some regret as it ends. But there's rarely like you're sitting there feeling great.
There's a term in sobriety uh, when it's as simple as this, and it is, um, it feels so damn good until it doesn't. That is the off season.
Yep.
Your first couple weeks of just decompress, like, oh my God, this is,
Mhm.
and then eventually you sit in that too long and it starts to feel toxic.
It's like
And it
relief
starts
to
to have
regret.
correct. It's relief to regret. And that's normal. I mean,
Yeah.
if you've had the appropriate build and you've worked very hard and you've culminated in big work, yeah, there should be relief. And then eventually, I should probably change my habits now because this is no longer good for me,
Yeah.
my fitness, my mental health, right? So that's what we're describing.
To me, my analogy here is it's sleeping in.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying to sleep in, and you wake up oftentimes feeling worse.
Yeah.
And then the next day and the day after, you're like, that was needed, but I can't keep living like this.
Mm.
Like you sleep in too late and then you start staying up too late. And then you're like in this weird in between, like, I'm good. I needed that. That's great. But I know this is a treat. I can't live off this. Like this is
Yep.
vacation style. This actually isn't good for me long term feeling, but I really liked it and I needed it. But now it's like, oh, I feel gross. I need to start waking up again.
Yeah, and that physical thing, like when I'm in a big, like right now, I'm actually had a great workout today out of the blue. I'm like, okay, fitness is just fine. But when I'm in like a peak or even just like a really strong build, like I have really good days and I have really bad days. I have good day where I feel I'm on it and sharp, and then I have days where I'm just slogging because I'm fatigued. In the off season, you're right. It's just like this low grade, like meh feeling
Mhm.
physically and mentally with your runs. There's the highs and lows aren't they don't exist. The curve is smoothed out,
Yeah. And
in
then
my opinion.
eventually you're just like, oh, I need structure. I
I
need
can't
that.
feel like a 5 out of 10 every day anymore. I need 9s and I need 3s, but I can't just live here anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's where I would then do that transition to suddenly I'm looking forward. Now base building starts and all eyes are forward. I know what's behind me. I got done with that. I've gone through what the season was like. I've come to grips with everything. If there was grief, I'm through the grief. If there was a
Mhm.
huge high, I'm over that. I've come down from that. And now I'm just ready for structure in my life. And the base building begins with just like eyes forward. I like the structure, but it's never enough that it's the work itself is fully sustaining. It's again, what's coming next, there's anticipation, but it's excitement anticipation, knowing that, oh, this is going to get good. I like this. I can't wait
Base
for a
phase
little more structure.
base phase is my least favorite,
Okay.
actually. Uh, not for you. I'm
No, I'm
guessing
saying
by
like
your
I like the next part. Like I'm excited. I can't wait to get some more quality in. I'll do this because I must pay this to be able to afford what comes next kind of thing. Like this is my investment, but I don't want to stay here.
Yeah, I don't base phase, you should not feel invigorated, I guess is what I'm getting at. And I found as an athlete, I thrive off of invigoration. Getting to the point where I pick a workout where my heart rate, I'm zone 5, I'm seeing pennies or whatever you want, tasting pennies, because you can see them too. I thrive off of that,
Seeing
but just
pennies. Huh?
um, that feeling, the invigorated feeling, what I end up feeling in base phase is like I know I'm laying good work. I may even have some dull legs. Like they often don't feel great in base phase either. I feel like I'm so far away from racing for some reason, and like
Mhm.
and I need and want more. And base phase for me always feels like I'm actually holding back. I'm not allowing myself the big meat and potatoes of training quite yet. I'm just like giving myself, like, I don't know, boring meals and little appetizers, but never like the satiated, like, there you swung today, Kirk. That is going to get you race ready. It's like sort
Yep.
of that, like, I'm doing all the prep work. I haven't enjoyed the meal yet. And so there's anticipation. I agree. But for me, I have to force myself to sit in base phase without allowing myself
Yeah.
more purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get antsy in there. And I think it's the difference between like being a racer's racer and being a
Yeah.
trainer's racer. Like
Yeah.
people that want to go rip and look forward to the nerves of race day and look forward to the sting of their race, even if it's also a terrifying thing, they're the people that look forward to getting out of base training and into some hurt. And the people that are in base training looking forward to what's going to happen, like there's a race I want to do, but oh, we've got some big workouts coming up and I'm dreading that. That's more of like the trainer's racer. Like I really like to train, but the stingy intervals, the race week kills me. Like I want to be able to just do that thing without all the middle. They actually
Mhm.
like base training.
So polarized training is important. Okay. I find myself in base phase doing a lot of gray zone stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm never seeing pacing that I'm super proud of or has me giving me that little nugget of like a that a boy, right? Like I'm always like, yeah, I'm kind of working hard by the end of this long run. My heart rate has drifted, but I'm so far off of invigorating paces. Like I'm just sort of like almost like a governor's put on me by myself, right? A little bit more gray zone
Yeah.
running. I don't have a big discrepancy between super easy zone 1-2 day and then a big zone 5 day. It's again that smooth out bell curve where I'm just kind of feeling dull. Like I'm okay. I know I'm building fitness and I have confidence in that, but I'm not getting like that dopamine hit
Yeah.
from the sexiness of getting ready to race ever. And so it's like one of those things. It's like the patience game for me is just like, don't love it for the next 4 to 8 weeks. It's okay. You got to put your shoes on. You're going to go out and do it. But I'm still not feeling terribly inspired yet either. I'm just like, okay, like I'm a caged animal waiting for the reins to be taken off and I can just roll. So I don't know, that's a jumbled mix of how I feel during that time, but that would be it.
It's weird for me because all I dream about with running are workouts and races. That's what moves the needle for me in anticipation. But my most enjoyable running happens during base training. Because every day that I go out for a run, I wake up feeling fine getting out of bed. And I think, oh, this will be
It's
good to
true.
go try this trail today. I never think, oh, I should go try this trail today during pre-competition phase. I get out of bed and I creak downstairs thinking, should I run today? Should I really be running today again? I just did something big tomorrow or yesterday. I'm doing it again tomorrow. Like there's a dread of, can I get up for this again? I don't get that during base phase. And so I actually like the act of running most during this.
Mm.
Your mileage is up, your hurt is down, my body feels a little better. And every individual run, if I had to rate every run, I would have a much higher occurrence of pleasurable runs during base training, even if I'm not overly happy during base training. I
Mm.
want more racing, I want more quality work, but my day-to-day happiness is higher than I give myself credit for because the run is easy and feels nice.
Especially if it's like the novelty portion of your training. Like I'm going to go pick this train I haven't hit, or I've been curious about running at 40% on the treadmill. So I'm just going to play with that. If there is such a thing at running at 40%, like the nuances of like, it's okay if it's not threading the needle now every day. It's like, go get your time in. It doesn't
Yeah.
need to be perfect. And that can be like super freeing, right?
Yeah, and we're going to get to the next stage next, but during that stage, you don't feel good for the majority of your runs, but you
Mhm.
do in this phase. So even if the runs themselves aren't exciting, you feel very capable as a runner on every run.
I still feel like a governor's on me though. Like if I wanted to go hard that day or fast, it would start to feel like pretty bad, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't be super pumped about what I was seeing on the watch. Probably.
Yeah. But what I don't have during base training is the first 2 mile stumble jog of my quads are
Right.
sore and my calves are smoked and my hip flexors barking at me. Like my body just works from step one.
Yeah, it's true.
And that part is nice.
That's fair. See, I thrive off of like being slapped in the face, like to feel
Yeah.
alive.
You're a
Like
pain is pleasure type guy.
it's not, but it
Yeah.
wakes me up
Dark
and
coffee,
invigor.
whiskey, stingy workouts. You take yourself to the well in time. Like you're the type
It
of person wired to receive that as pleasure.
Yeah, in Heinz, just something that shakes you, right? And so I thought that's why like I think I've talked about recently how like just like traditional long runs right now for me are just like pulling teeth,
Mhm.
like just like go and run for like an hour and a half, like on the roads at like with no intensity or structure, just like go sit there. Like for me, if for some reason it's like, no, I need to be slapped once in a while and then I'm engaged. And so
Yeah.
maybe I'm in the minority there. I don't know. But I couldn't sit in base phase for too long. Eventually, I would need more, like emotionally, mentally, need more.
Well, I think again, I talked the racer and the training racer, but I don't think that's the right term. But there's really two types of runners at their core. The type that if they're sent out for an unscripted long run, is content to dawdle and the type that feels compelled to close the run down with some speed, with some acceleration. Like at our core, we're one or the other.
It's more, yeah, but it'd be like if, like, even just your perception of the long run, let's say, like if I was like, Bracken, you're going to go out and do 20 or 2 hours today, nice low grade time on foot. Or if I was like, Bracken, you're going to do a 1-3 long run for 2 hours where you do a 1 minute surge, 3 minutes off, 1 minute surge, 3 minutes off. One of my favorite go-tos on a long run, just to break it up, open it up. Which long run's going to go by quicker? Well, the one
For sure.
three, right? And so just from like the gamifying it, I think
Yeah.
even for me is part of it. So, all right. So do you want to move to now? We're ramping up, baby. We got a race now. It's 3 months off, 2 months off, whatever it may be, your timeline. We're starting to really we're wanting to get that bell curve to start rising.
So during the buildup, we're not to our maximum training. This to me is the most exciting part of training, if anything's ever exciting. The training plan starts to make sense of like, I can see where this is headed. Nothing's really easy early on, but you're still excited enough about what's coming that there's some novelty to it. And you're doing workouts for the first time in that progression and you see progress very quickly. It's an exciting time. And it's now the first time you're dealing with that balance of, I'm not feeling good every day. Workouts are taking something out of me, but I'm still improving at them. So that's fun. And you start to find that rhythm of feel good, pay for it, get back to good, use it, pay for it, get back to good. And that's either a fun rhythm for you or it's not. But either way, you start to not feel good every day and balance that rhythm.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I think there's either anticipation or dread in this phase.
Yeah.
Meaning like, oh gosh, I got my first like 40-minute tempo at marathon effort. Oh, that's going to be bad. Or I don't know where I'm at for 400-meter repeats right now on 30 seconds, but that seems so intimidating. But that's where we're at, right?
And it's engaging.
It's engaging. It's interesting because our coach in college opened us up with almost roughly the same workout to start our cross country season each year after we were home all summer base training, or we were home all winter over interim before the indoor track season. And we would go home and just, he'd say, run, hit your mileage, run, nothing structured. We'll get structure when you come back. And there was always that, like, I don't know what I'm going to get here. We did our classic 3x3 by 400 meters on minimum rest pretty early in the season. And it'd be like for a miler. So that's, 2.25 miles worth of work. And it spit people out the back at the intended paces. But nonetheless, we would come back, and for 3 years in a row, you come back from just non-sexy running, kind of like, okay, what am I going to get? And every year for 3 years, like, coach would go back and look and say, Kirk, last year as a freshman, you averaged 64.3 for your quarters. This year, you're at 63.7, objectively faster. Like, how did I get faster? Well, engine is still engine, and muscle memory is still existing. And so what I find is I'm generally pleasantly surprised. I'm not saying it felt great to do it, nor did I feel like super sharp and ready. But if the foundation has been laid, you've been consistent, I often find I surprise myself with like, hey, that was better than I thought. I thought I was further removed from being able to run like that. I guess that's my own personal experience.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree. If you are consistent throughout your year, the mindset coming in is how much have I lost? And then you get done with the first one, you're like, I'm further ahead than I thought I was.
That's how I am every time.
If you are consistent throughout your year.
Correct. So it may come to you a little more difficult when you start ramping up. You may have to RPE engage more, but you're like, maybe you're tied to, I would need to hit 7-minute pace for these intervals because that's where I feel like I should be. And you can probably do it. Might come with a little more reaching, but I find generally you haven't backtracked as far as you thought. And so you start to build that momentum pretty quick. But you're going to have the first crappy days of your training in a while too, meaning, yeah, then the pendulum swings, kicks you in the butt on the way back. And then you're like, wow, do I feel bad today? And this is where like the old niggles and nagels might start flaring up on you. Oh, that hip thing I forgot about. There it is. That sort of thing. I think that's pretty normal.
Yeah. You've been running your 60-minute loop through your neighborhood or through the trail all base season, and you've just been clicking right in and running, and for the first time you're trudging out your door like, oh, this first mile is taking forever, my quads are tired today. You get that first feeling,
Mm-hmm.
which
What
you and
else?
I interpret as a good thing. Some people are like, I just feel beat up right now, I'm not used to this. And we're like, I did something yesterday. This is like
Totally.
this sucks today and I earned it. It's a matter of perspective, but either way, this is the stage where you stop feeling good every day.
This is the stage where veteran runners like really embrace the process
Mm-hmm.
and the ups and downs of once you're in a heavy training block, the discrepancy in how you feel becomes very noticeable. And where a novice athlete starts hitting this and it's like, I hit my PR in this interval session last week. And then this week, I can't run to save my life and I feel terrible and I'm so far back. And then they suddenly think the whole world is lost and they're going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And they like emotionally just have these swings because they're not used to the fact that no, for reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction and progress isn't linear. And you do get to that phase at this time. And so like, I look forward to that. Like, hey, I actually need and get to run super slow today because that's what I need. Now
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I'm in a rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah. I would
Yeah.
agree with that. And this time of year it should be a momentum builder. We don't want to crush these workouts. We want to execute these workouts because you don't want to get ahead of the game right now. You have time. And so I believe at this point, worst case scenario is that for every one day you put in, one day gets taken away from you feeling good. Like I worked hard for one day, the next day I feel not quite myself and I'm back by the second day and feeling great. It's not the time to be run down for a week yet. At worst, it's I worked hard Tuesday. Wednesday was not easy. Thursday, I felt great again. That's like the worst it should be during ramp up. If you're getting more than that, if you're getting 2 days of bad off one day of quality, intentional work, then I think you're working too hard in this stage or doing too big of workouts or trying too hard even.
It's where I need to, this is where I can get in trouble pushing a little too hard.
Mm.
In college, again, just to refer back to college, I felt like everybody showed up like caged animals ready to rip and
Yes.
we go race each other in training, right? And the intervals and such. And for me anyways, I feel like I'd peak 3 to 5 weeks into season. And then by the time nationals came around, I was just barely hanging on because we ran too hard too often, 2 quality days a week, and then maybe a race and you're kind of rubbing shoulders and pecking order, right, on the squad. Do you remember that? Like we ended up
Yeah.
a little too hard. We'd get in great shape quick and then bam, we'd end up stalling potentially. At least that happened to me. And then I really had nowhere to go from there.
Yeah, I'll never forget my junior year in fall. We did this build where we started with 800s, then went to thousands, then 1200s, then 1500s. We were running them with, 45 to 60 seconds rest. It was my first chance to do some threshold training, but we didn't run them at threshold. We ran them fast. I was running my thousands at like 301, 259, that kind of thing. Like
450 pace.
that's not
445
threshold.
pace. Yeah.
Right? I'm trying to crack 3 each thousand. And I get done. And that first 2 to 3 weeks, every time we did that session, I'd be like sick to my stomach by the end. I'd get diarrhea that night. It was like I was overloading my system with a stimulus it wasn't prepared to handle. You should not be getting that in ramp up phase.
You shouldn't be getting diarrhea in a ramp up phase.
Not from exertion, not because you raced your intervals.
That's true.
So when you're in a really, really massive block of training, not really massive, when you're really, really fit, you can do an interval session. And sometimes the next day or the day after, you're like, I think I could rip again if I had to, because you can tolerate the work so well. In this stage, you should be able to feel that a day or two later because you didn't quite do too much in the workout. Not because you can tolerate it so well yet, because you can't. You should keep it to the point where you still feel 48 hours later like I could probably do that again because you didn't run yourself into the ground yet. Now is not the time for that.
Yeah, I have a handful of athletes who it seems to be a theme where they inquire if I don't think I'm working hard enough or should I have been able to run so much faster my last couple of reps, and I worry I'm not pushing myself enough on these hard days, and I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
Stay right there. It's okay. As long as you feel like you get there on race day, I would rather you in that boat versus positive splitting everything or racing to keep even splits. And then you end up with a CNS that's totally snubbed on race day and you're just behind the 8 ball. So I'm personally going through these lessons right now. You and I have talked about it, like not being a hero too often. There's moments, of course, but point being is I'm going to feel invigorated during this. I'm going to have some of my lower days where I get 3 weeks in now and I have a quality session where I like kind of lay an egg too, just because I don't quite have the recovery piece right. Maybe like you might have 1 or 2 of those pop in there. But you feel like you're making strides. I feel like emotionally, physically, you're like, yeah, I'm doing something here. Like I'm getting better, I think is the sentiment.
In off season / base building, every time you go out for a run, you should feel pretty decent energy wise and body wise. In this stage, you should feel good more often than you feel bad.
Yes.
And it shouldn't be close yet. It shouldn't be close to a 50-50 split yet. It should be at least 2-1.
Meaning like for every 3 quality sessions, 2 you nail and 1 you feel meh about? Or you mean like I have 2 days that are good, no matter if they're easy or hard days, and 1 day that isn't? Like, what are you referring to?
Yeah, like out of a 7-day week, at this point, you're not feeling bad for your run more than 2 times, probably.
Yeah.
3 at the absolute most. You have at least 4, if not 5 days where you wake up and you're like, I feel great today. Let's go run. In the previous stage, you probably felt good 5 to 7 times per week. Now it's like 4 to 5.
Yeah. So let's bump to what I believe the athlete I'm working with, John's question is. He's in his peak overreaching phase. I think he's 4 weeks out, something like that. 5 weeks out. I got to look at the exact date. Point being, here we are. We are now like most stimulus coupled with intensity before the final. Again, this is more centric for like marathon, ultra, but it could be for anything, right? Because if you're in like a 5K racing season, you're going to kind of sit in this like race ready mode and try to stay there for weeks. But let's talk about a build to either a racing season where you're like, hey, I'm building and now I'm going to race 3 out of 5 weekends. And point being, you get what I'm saying. So overreaching phase now. I am 4 weeks out from my marathon, my A race marathon. How should I be feeling? I'm 4 weeks out from Javelina.
It'd be great if you felt great. But in reality, you're going to wake up more days than not wondering if you're a little too tired, if you're a little too sore, that you'll make it to your quality session and you'll be able to pull it off. And then you'll spend the next day or 2 like, oh man, I'm tired again. You just have like this lingering heaviness about your legs that's really only gone just in time for your next big workout. Sometimes not even, depending on how big. Like you talk about overreaching a lot. I do less overreaching with a lot of the people I work with. But if there's real overreaching happening where you're hitting a mileage significantly above what you're going to drop down to soon, then you may not ever go into a run for like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 weeks in a row where you feel 100% recovered from the day before.
Springy. You might not have felt springy in a couple of weeks. You still pull things off and have productive sessions, but you know the feeling when you're like, it's just there today. You may not have that feeling for a few weeks even. You know, for example, when we talk about overreaching, like his peak week right now, you know, he went from like a 3-day to a 4-day to he's now a 6-day a week runner. And it's quite a bit of mileage on Monday for a recovery run, a big quality Tuesday, a midweek long run Thursday. He's got recovery runs Wednesday and Friday. And then Saturday is a split double where I might send the guy out for 5 miles of tempo work plus quarters to finish. And then he's got to go in the afternoon and run 3 hours on the trails, fatigued. Talk about overreaching phase. He's going through that. I think this week is his final. You know, that's a classic example of overreaching. He's hitting his most mileage. He's hitting his most time on feet. And I'm asking him to do 2 big quality sessions. And one of those is followed by a fatigued long run. How should you feel in that week and that week after, right? Like, and that's an ultra training style that I found has been very successful for people. It's invigorating, does put them in the dirt. But I find anyways, usually it's very predictable what happens that following week. And I think that would be what I'm talking about. Classic overreaching, meaning like a lot of intensity coupled with a lot of volume equals like at some point something's going to give, and it's probably going to be like how the heck you feel. It's just you're going to be compromised.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got to go for 3 to 6 weeks in this state of, I just got to get through this. I know I just got to get through this. That's kind of the mindset. I got to check this box today. I just got to get 10 in. I don't care how I feel.
And emotionally, you just want it to be race day so you can start landing the plane. Like you're almost a little burnt. Almost. Yeah. It's okay to be like a little bit like, I'm out of love with it all of a sudden. Like at this point, I just don't want to put the shoes on tomorrow because I'm just a little burnt. Like if you're going to time it perfectly, I think that is part of it for some people. Not everybody, but for me it is. I don't know about you. Like I don't want to run 3 hours today, but
I've spent some time with good runners, some big mileage good runners, and you hear a sentence from them or like a sentiment, and they haven't known each other, so there's no way they've communicated this, but they've all said a version of this, which is like, oh, body's feeling pretty junk today, but if I can just get 12 tomorrow, I'll hit blank for the week.
Yeah, totally.
Like, that's the zone you're at. Like, yeah. I don't love what I'm doing right now, but if I can just get this, like it was worth it. And they always say that phrase, but if I can just hit blank, then I get 90 for the week or whatever it is.
So the way I feel in overreaching phase is often I'll figure it out on the training front. I may be disappointed. And honestly, in this phase, this is the phase in which I change the deal in workouts once or twice. Like I may start my Tuesday after a big Saturday long run with quality in it or something. And I'm like, I am so gone mentally, physically. Like that's how I know I'm kind of there and okay, it's time to back off. But this might be the phase where the deal changing happens, or you start something like I'm wasted. I'm cutting my reps today or something. For me, that happened 3 weeks out from grandma's half last year. And I was like, I'm right where I should be. And I nailed it. This year was a different story with injury lead in. But for me, I'm almost like, okay, confirmed. I've done enough work. I had a bad day today. This is so confirmatory and validating that the taper coming up is needed and going to work that I almost crave the feeling of like, I'm underwater. Today sucked. I'm deflated. Justify the taper. That's how I want to feel at the end of the overreaching phase.
Yeah.
Which I know doesn't need to happen, but for me, it puts my mind at ease saying, okay, it's time to back off. You've earned it at this point. Your body has told you that. Well, that's me personal.
I've done the ready to race style where you stay a notch below this. You don't really overreach. You just stack consistent work for as long as possible and then sharpen. And then I've done this. So out in Colorado, I did this. And my last 2 ultras I trained for, I did this. And there's this point I get to where the only workouts I ever feel good for are my big ones. Mm-hmm. Like I am just hanging on them in between, even the weeks where I'm only doing 2 quality sessions. Like Tuesday, let's say it's Wednesday, Saturday, or Tuesday, Saturday with a midweek long run. I feel bad Wednesday, Thursday, and not great Friday. And then I arrived just in time because at this stage of training, if you're overloading, you did good work prior, you're good enough at the act of doing this work that you can handle it, but it still takes a lot out of you. So like if you felt like this when you weren't in great shape, if you felt as bad as you or I would feel on a recovery run on a Wednesday when you were in bad shape, you'd be like, I'm in trouble. I need a day off tomorrow. But when you're in good shape, you feel terrible on Wednesday and you wake up Thursday and it's like, I can go get 10 today because your body gets over it and it tolerated it better than it felt like it was. So at this stage, I oftentimes have mileage goals for the day. This is how I was in Colorado. Every single day that wasn't a quality session or a midweek long run, so 2 to 3 times a week, I'd be like, I need 10 today, or I need 12, and I don't care how I get them. So I'd go out for my morning run, and if 7 or 8 were available, I'd take it. And if I could only get 4, it's like, okay, I'll just get 4 now, and then later on I'll get 6 when I'm a little bit more available. You need a level of fitness to have that mindset. Like I don't have it now, but in 8 hours, I'll be good enough. I can go get 6 more, but that wouldn't be smart in base phase or like the ramp up phase, but you're good enough at what you do by this point that you can just live run to run knowing I'll be okay.
Yeah, I agree. And not that every build has to end in like an overreaching phase. Like I agree with you. Like the sort of, I run pretty steady mileage, but I change the ingredients in that mileage
Yep.
to get me race ready. I think that's super serviceable for like even half marathon distance and down. I think you could sit in that and you could roll with it. You could run roughly the same mileage, but tinker with the what's being done with that mileage, and you could sustain that ebb and flow for
Yeah.
months and race well. I think I'm more speaking to like the
Yeah.
the marathon plus crowd with this, and because I don't want you to feel totally burnt in the scenario of the sort of race ready, changing the ingredients. Like that may happen once in a while, but this is like I got to run 100 miles. I'm going to be on feet for 20 hours or more. We got to stress the body so it adapts in some way.
Yeah.
So you get what I'm saying here.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we only have a few minutes left. So let's talk about the taper. How should I feel? Finally, we've done it. We hit our last peak week, and now we have 2 or 3 weeks where we land the plane. How are we feeling?
If you've done the overreach correctly, you were staring at the lifeboat of the taper week, yearning for it. Like, I just have 4 days till I get to back off. I just have 3 days. You get there and it's like, oh, thank goodness. And you need it for a few days. But because you're the type of hard driver who got to that point, that feeling of relief lasts not very long. As soon as your legs come back around for the first time, which is like day 3 or 4, usually, suddenly you start rethinking the taper. And for many people, the taper is torture.
Yeah. So for me, and what I find is you go, oh, thank God. And your first week of your taper is junk. I generally, you're still like filtering through the metabolic fatigue, and it hasn't like done what it needs to do yet. It hasn't. You just came off a huge couple of weeks. Like that first week, we are like, hey, it's a little. I am doing 2 extra miles today, or 2 less miles today. My quality session normally has 7 miles of work. Now it's 5. My long run used to be 3 hours. Now this week it's 2, for example. You're like, it's just not quite enough yet. Like when I say gradual landing of the plane, I guess it's like I still don't feel great. Like when I begin the taper, I think in the best case scenario, it comes around like the week of the race. We're like, okay, I'm starting like, okay, I'm not tired all the time. Now I'm almost questioning if I'm losing fitness. My legs don't ache when I'm walking around. I'm starting to like, now I'm starting to feel a little sloppy,
Yep.
like that last week. But I find that first week of finally backing off, I don't really feel, I'm like, it hasn't worked yet. I still need more. At least that's me.
It's one or the other. You either come around just in time or you're sitting there climbing the walls for a week or two. Like, could I just go run today? Could I just run more today? I need more quality. I'm not, and you just start second guessing everything. It's one of the two, but either way, it's not super enjoyable. Very few people enjoy the landing of the plane, as you call it. I liked being up there training. I need to get to the race. It's too far away for me to calm down, and it's too far away to be this stressed.
You almost feel like you're gambling with what's going to happen on race day all of a sudden. Like you've been so dialed and the workouts have been so predictable and you know what it's like to sit in it and feel it. And then you almost spend just enough time away from it as you knew it to show up on the start line and have insecurities and wonder.
Yeah.
Just enough. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And this is, if you didn't screw it up in the overreaching stage, this is where some people screw it up. They either do too little and they lose the one important stimulus that they need to have resistance to. It could be impacting the ground. It could be they didn't descend at all in the last 2.5 or 3 weeks, and the first 2 descents beat them up too much. It could be that they did too much here. They overreached. They started to back off. They got afraid, and then they did one more big workout, and now they're toast. But the taper has to be executed. This isn't the time to go off script.
Yeah, and when I was combing through like some of the best, Connor Mance, Clayton Young, their lead-ins to their Olympic Games to some really great racing, I was actually pretty. I mean, talk about landing of the plane. You look at their mileage charts, and it's such a scaled 3 weeks into race day, and it's shocking. I mean, half the mileage by the time race week comes, and they're still running perfectly well. Most of your tapers aren't half the mileage, yet some of these best in the world justified with 120-mile weeks previously. Pretty drastic. So it is like like still punchy. You still want to feel the sting. You don't want to shy away from feeling work, just enough to be familiar with it, but not sitting it too long. I think that's sort of the key. And then it's just backing off the gas just slightly, not totally laying off the gas and pumping the brakes. It's like a fine balance there.
Yeah. Yeah. The point of the taper is to recover your energy and your reserves. Absorb everything you did, but it's not to get dull or get stale. You still get to work during it. You just have to do the minimum effective dose rather than the maximum effective dose, because that maximum can disrupt that recovery you're going for. If you're going to overreach, you have to then recover.
Yep.
And if you are not going to overreach, then you don't need as big of a recovery. But either way, you have to keep the skill component intact. And the pros get that. That's why a lot of times we look at their logs and it's like they drop their mileage a bunch, but man, that workout they did is way too big for me to handle before a race. It's like, yeah, because this is what they're genetically designed to do and what they've done for their entire life. But the point is they don't let things slide.
Yeah. They don't lose touch with any of the systems or components they need on race day.
Yeah.
They may descend early in the week on the week of a race that requires descending, but it may be in small doses, right?
Exactly. You just have to stay ready for the demands of the race. And part of that is having your nerves, having your mental reserves, having your glycogen reserves, having everything topped off. You need to have everything at full value in order to be able to spend it all. And you also need to have your skills available.
Yep. Yeah. And then race day comes and it should almost feel like a relief.
Yeah.
Finally, it's here. The anticipation, the nerves, the laying in bed thinking about it, like it's actually just like, thank God it's here. I'm so ready to race. Like I'm so ready to, I hate to say it, get this thing over with or prove what I can do. But at that point, those last few days of the taper, that back half of the week can just be like, I just need to move energy at this point. That's the idea.
It's almost like base building. By the time you're done with it, you need to be done with it. You need the next thing.
Yeah. I need to go out there and sit in it and suffer again. I'm craving it again. All right. I think that's it for us today, Brakken. Good luck to Braden this weekend. Next week, we got 2 episodes. Good destiny to Braden. Yes. 2 episodes next week. We got guests back in action now that we got Brakken's schedule sorted out. So you'll get that next week too.
Kirk, good seeing you. This once a week thing is not cutting it for me.
No, I agree.
See you next week.